What is it actually like living in Redondo Beach? Get excited because I'm about to give you the pros and cons, the good, the bad, and everything in between you need to know if you're thinking of moving to Redondo Beach, California. I'm getting into it all, and make sure you stay till the end where I share the one con not enough people are talking about, as well as an insider tip on the best neighborhoods in Redondo Beach to buy a home. If you've never heard of Redondo Beach, Redondo is a coastal city in the greater Los Angeles area, and yes, it's a city. Los Angeles is pretty vast, and so a lot of times most people think of suburbs or neighborhoods, but these are actually incorporated cities. It's located in the area known as the South Bay, and is actually one of 3 beach cities in the South Bay. And even though they are each separate cities, they are still very much intertwined. You may live in Redondo, for example, but you go out to restaurants and bars in Hermosa, or you do your shopping in Manhattan Beach, or your kids play soccer in Manhattan Beach, so that kind of thing. Or sometimes even you may live in one and attend the schools of another, but more on that a little later. Redondo is that quintessential Southern California beach community with so much charm and so much to do. The beach lifestyle makes the commute to LA worth it if you do have to commute. It's just 8 miles from LAX airport and about 18 miles from downtown Los Angeles. Now, as far back as 1877, Redondo Beach was named the gem of the continent by the Los Angeles Daily Herald, and still today, Niche.com calls it one of the best suburbs to live in Los Angeles. It has a population of just under 70,000. So now that you have a little background, let's talk about whether Redondo Beach is or isn't a great place to live. There's obviously no perfect place, and every city comes with its advantages and disadvantages. So let's dive into the pros and cons of living in Redondo Beach. So obviously one of the biggest pros of living here is being near the beach. Known as one of the best beach communities in California, Redondo Beach is famous for its incredible surf, beach volleyball, and beautiful coastal living with a great sense of community. On any given day, you'll find people walking, riding bikes, playing volleyball, or just relaxing on the sand. You can be out doing your errands and get to enjoy the most beautiful views and ocean air. And let's not forget those incredible sunsets. I love that I can just be driving my kids to school or the dentist, and even on those short little outings, I get to see the ocean and the palm trees. It really just does make a difference in your quality of life when you live somewhere where you can enjoy that natural beauty all around you. Now, another strong pro, Redondo Beach has its own school district that operates outside of the Los Angeles Unified School District, which doesn't have the best reputation. Now, this is a huge draw for families because the quality of the public schools in Redondo is so good. RBUSD has won numerous awards. It has top-rated sports programs, wonderful parent involvement, wonderful educators, very involved community, and the high school has one of the most beautiful campuses in the state. It's like a sprawling campus, like a college campus, one of the biggest in the state, and it often falls in the top 5 public high schools in Los Angeles on various public rating sites like Niche.com. Now, the one downside of the high school, because we're talking pros and cons, is that it is located in South Redondo. So for the students living in North Redondo, it is a little bit of a longer trek getting to school. It's not really bikeable, although today with all the e-bikes, it has gotten easier. And North Redondo students just have to travel a little farther to get to school, but they also have the option to take the Beach City's transit public bus to get there, but that can be a little bit of a pain. Now, one thing to note is that certain neighborhoods in North Redondo can permit into Mira Costa High School in Manhattan Beach, and many families do take advantage of that option because the convenience of it. It's just a little bit closer. Redondo has 8 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and the 1 high school. Now, one of my kids had special education needs, and I can say with all my heart, our experience with Redondo's special ed team, the educators, and the community has been wonderful. Actually, we were told very early in my daughter's journey to make sure we stay in one of the South Bay districts that are not in LA Unified, and I will always be very grateful for that advice. The school districts around here are just top-notch. Now, my daughter thrived in Redondo schools, and she attends one of the top universities in the country. But of course, this was our personal experience. Opinions can be very subjective. So you are encouraged to do your own research, evaluate the school's scores and ratings, talk to other people in the neighborhood, and you can do that at greatschools.org or check out the district at rbusd.org. Before we move on to more pros and cons, if you are curious, what are the best neighborhoods in Redondo Beach to live, you're going to want to check out my video, Where to Live in Redondo Beach, where I break down all the different neighborhoods and micro areas of Redondo Beach. And if you're thinking about moving here and want my full relocation guide, just go to redondobeach.vip and you can grab that for free. Okay, so another great advantage of Redondo, with a population of only around 70,000, Redondo has a small city feel with a great sense of community. The residents truly care about the community. They're very involved. There's a diverse mix of churches, synagogues, there's a mosque in nearby Hawthorne, and lots of cool cultural events. There's some great localized shops and restaurants, lots of small businesses, definitely a great food scene, and plenty of locally owned small businesses. The Riviera Village down in South Redondo is such a quaint town with boutique shops, restaurants, coffee shops, and it's only a block from the beach. There's also, of course, the Redondo Pier, which is such a fun place to hang out. It was originally built in 1888 and is considered a historical landmark. The pier has some great seafood options, or you can just walk around, take in the views. You can fish, you can go on a whale watch boat, you can rent kayaks, stand-up paddle boards. There's so much to do. And in the spring, we have the annual Kite Festival. The whole pier is such a beautiful spot. The next pro, in my opinion, would be the weather. If you love year-round warm weather and don't want to deal with excessive heat or humidity, you'll love it here. The average temperature is around 74 degrees in the summer and in the 60s in the winter. Now, there are only a few weeks a year where it may dip lower or higher than that. In recent years, with rising global temperatures, we have a few weeks of super hot weather where it can get up to the 80s and 90s, but that's rare. And even then, we have very low humidity, nice breezes from the ocean, so it doesn't get too uncomfortable. Now, the downside of beautiful weather, and not enough people are talking about this, if you're someone who enjoys seasons, the weather won't be great for you, as we definitely don't have much of a fall or winter to experience. The good news is, if you do like snow, you have some gorgeous mountains like Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead within a 2-hour drive. Now, one more downside about the weather, early summer months are notorious for this phenomenon we call May gray or June gloom. Most mornings here, there's like a marine layer that keeps our summer days cool and foggy until midday when it burns off. And then the sun does finally come out. So it's really not that big of a deal. Again, these are minor prices to pay for living in such a beautiful place with such amazing weather. But I told you I was going to keep it real and give you all the cons, so I wanted to mention that. Another advantage that comes with this awesome weather is a very healthy year-round outdoor lifestyle. There are plenty of beautiful parks, biking, running trails, spectacular hiking trails in nearby Palos Verdes. And then there's Wilderness Park, which is the sprawling 11-acre nature conservation with beautiful trees and trails and a pond and ducks and turtles. My kids loved going to Wilderness Park when they were little, and it's this fabulous nature space right in the middle of the city. Okay, so I've painted this picture of an incredible place to live, but because it's so popular, living here comes at a cost. Cost of living is definitely high compared to the national average. Right now, the median sale price is around $1.3 million, and that probably only gets you a townhouse or a 2-on-a-lot in North Redondo, which is the part of town not even adjacent to the beach. And because we're near the beach, homes here do not come with a lot of land. Most of them don't have very big yards, and be prepared to live very close to your neighbors. Another downside to living in Redondo is you do have to deal with traffic. LA is notorious for bad traffic. So if you live in Redondo Beach and have to commute to LA, or you commute south to Orange County, you will have to deal with traffic. And if you live in South Redondo, you also have a bit of a commute to even get to the freeway entrance. Most people from that area will take Pacific Coast Highway to avoid the freeway, but that has a lot of traffic lights and can get pretty congested, especially in the morning. Now, if you live in North Redondo, freeway access is much easier. Now, no area is immune to Mother Nature, and living in California, we have our fair share of dealing with the elements. And while we don't necessarily deal with fires in the South Bay as much as other areas of California, the South Bay is not immune to earthquakes. We definitely have at least a few shakers a year. I personally have lived here around 25 years. I've never had any damage during an earthquake. That said, you never really get used to them. So when they happen, and it's usually only like a jolt or some shaking for under 30 seconds, but expect to have your blood pressure go up for a little bit. And if you're worried about damage to your home, there is earthquake insurance, but it's expensive and has very high deductibles. Other cons that have to do with the elements: because we live in the beach, termites are an issue. Homes are made of wood, and when you bring water and wood together, you will get termites. So it's definitely something you have to look out for. It requires regular maintenance, and most homeowners will have quarterly inspections and prevention treatments. So in case you can't tell, I'm a little biased towards the pros of living here. I think they far outweigh any of the cons. But if Redondo Beach is not your cup of tea, I have videos about many cities and neighborhoods in and around Los Angeles on this channel that you might want to check out. And if you're still undecided and have questions, as a local realtor, I'm always happy to help or just be a resource and answer any questions. Feel free to download my free relocation guides or get in contact with me at all of this info here.